Hi everyone, I wanted to give you a little more information to help with your homework this week. When you see your assignment, you're going to be inserting data into the VART database. So this is starting with a different model than what you created last Saturday, and that's just to make sure we're all on the same page. So you'll be clicking on this art_gallery.mwb file, and it will download the file for you. And if you go, you should see that where your files download. If you go into Workbench at this point, make sure at this here that you don't have any model tabs open, or it might kind of mesh the two together. So just make sure you just have the one local instance tab and close out any other models you might have open there. Now you can open up that file, the MWB file that we just downloaded, by going to File, Open Model, find where it got downloaded, click Open, and it will then open it up in this diagram area. Okay, now this may look very similar to your homework, but it is something different. We're going to forward engineer this so that we have an empty database that we can put data, do our inserts and run them and put data into it. So from this model, we want to forward engineer it into that empty database. We go to Database in the menu option, hit Forward Engineer, and go through the steps here. Go ahead and leave the defaults on this screen and hit Continue. Do check the first two here under the code generation. This is just going to make sure that if it's run multiple times that you will drop out anything you had done before by the same name, so that you can start fresh each time if you have to redo it. Click Continue once those two are checked. You might have to put in your root password there. And we are just exporting tables, so you can leave the defaults here. And at this point, you'll see all the code that it's actually going to run here in a minute. This is actually very helpful to include on the homework for a couple different reasons. So I'm going to click the Copy to Clipboard button here, which is basically going to just take everything here. It's the same as if I had highlighted everything and did a Control-C or a Command-C or right-click Copy. It's just going to put it all on the clipboard when you click that button. Then you can click Continue. It's going to run that code. You can hit Close when it's done, and when you go back to your local instance tab and refresh your list, you should see the VART database show up. And it does have tables, they're just empty right now. So if you did a select asterisk from artist and ran it, it would show the column headers but no data in there. So this is what we want to fill up with data for our homework. Now, to start your file that you're going to be turning in for your homework, I would start a new fresh tab if you've already got something on the current query tab that you're on. So I'd go to File, New Query tab, and while we've got that in the clipboard, let's go ahead and paste that with a Command or Control-V or right-click and say Paste, and it's going to bring in what we copied while we were doing that forward engineer. And this is helpful for you if you want to run it again without having to go back to the model and do a whole nother forward engineer. You can run this code again. And it's also helpful to the grader in case they need to recreate what you did to see if there's any problems, or they're not sure about your insert statements or something like that, that whoever's grading can also run it if they need to. So two reasons why that might be helpful to include in your homework. At the very bottom, underneath the forward engineering, is where I want you to go ahead and start your insert statements. Okay, so you're going to start, or you might have a column list here, however you want to do it. That's where you're going to start in doing the different insert statements. Now remember, you have 4 different tables you're putting data into, so you're going to have 4 different groups of insert values that you're going to be inserting. So you can group all the artists in one statement, you can do all the artwork in another one. You'll have the keyword table and then a linking table. So lots of different inserts to put lots of different data in there. But that's how you're going to get started. Now I also wanted to show a few things because it's a little different from the movie one that we saw. We do have artwork has a foreign key in it, and you're going to have to make sure that references back to which artist created this artwork, and you will actually put that value into your insert statement. When you're running the inserts, you're going to want to make sure you insert all the information into artist and actually run that insert statement before you run the insert statement for artwork, because artwork references the primary key here, and if you try to run the inserts for artwork before you've done artist, it will be very confused about what that number, that last column is meaning that you put in there. So I would do the tables that do not have foreign keys first, like artist and keyword, then do tables that will reference those primary keys as foreign keys. So your artwork has keyword will probably be the last insert that you run. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me just show you quickly what I'm kind of talking about. So say, go ahead and finish the artist and make it perfect. Then I would maybe start the artwork one, and I'm going to just insert or tab in just for ease of reading my code here. And let's bring up the PDF so we can insert one of these. Okay, so it was, we can even click on the artwork tables to make sure, yes, it is auto increments. We could just leave that as default or null, or you can put a 1 in there, whatever you choose. And then we want the title, so let's just do the first one here, irises. And you're going to want the year, which is a string literal, so put quotes around it. Actually, they were integers. That's right, so we just leave those without a quote. And you're going to want what period it was, Impressionism. Make sure I spell that right. And what type it was. And the file that goes with it is irises.jpg. Okay, and at this point you'll see you've got all of these. You've got the title, the art year, the period, the art type, and the art file. Now notice you've got one more column you need to put in here. You need to put what artist actually created that artwork. Now we'll know that it's going to be probably Vincent van Gogh. He was the first one. Let me move this back over. If you did your inserts in the same order as this, he'd probably be artist number 1 because that would be his primary key. So I would put a 1 there to reference him. Now if this was Leonardo da Vinci, it might be a 3, right? So make sure you look up at your artist table, and that's why I was saying it might be easier to just go ahead and give them numbers instead of letting auto increment do it with default, just because you'll kind of know what numbers they'll be, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, that does need that last value in there. So do that for each one of your artworks. And you can't run this one before you run this insert because this is referring to something that you're inserting in this one. So there is an order that you're going to go ahead and want to do those in. All right, hopefully that helps you out a little bit. And make sure you get some help. It will be, you know, a lot like we did with the inserts for our movies. You're going to have a linking table with your keywords for your artwork that's going to look a lot like that one. So watch those carefully. All right. Thank you.